I'm not exaggerating when I say this is the literal most requested video I've ever had. For those of you that don't know, last week we looked at the most immersive Dandy's World alternative universe we've ever seen, called Dandy's Wasteland. It's an arbitrary take on Dandy's World, where it's a place in a universe mixed between the facility and the Dandy show, but it's in a more damaged and drained environment. This alternative universe has the most lore, detailed descriptions you could ever see. Not only having every minute detail, there is an overall immersive story inside of this alternative universe, and you guys have been begging for it. But before I get into it, seriously, Dandy's Wasteland and everything regarding it, 1,000,000% credit to Transportation OK 5843. Transportation, you are the GOAT. We owe you so much for this amazing series, and not minding that I publicly post it for everyone. I'm telling you, Transportation, hit me up, dude. Hit me up. Also, make sure you guys unsubscribe. If we get to 75,000 subscribers by the time the year ends, I'm gonna have to make a Dandy's World themed cake. It's gonna look nothing like this. It's actually gonna be terrible. So please unsubscribe. I can't bait. You know, I don't know the best way to set up my face cam for these videos. I feel like this works. Would it be better if I move this to the right side? I want your guys' opinion. Regardless, let's talk about where we left off. Where we left off, we talked about the boosted state that you could get in the Dandy's Wasteland. What boosting in Dandy's Wasteland is essentially whenever a toon injects a certain amount of Ichor into their bloodstream. Every single toon in this universe has a different amount of Ichor tolerance. For example, Poppy has average Ichor tolerance, Boxin has average, and Shrimpo has less than average. Essentially meaning if he takes in too much Ichor at once, he's going to turn twisted. And every single toon in their state acts differently in some way. For example, right here is a comic of Boxin being boosted. Here's boosted Poppy, and here's boosted Shrimpo. We're gonna go now into the new stuff that we haven't looked at before. If you want to get caught up, make sure you watch the first installment of Dandy's Wasteland. Let's get into the new stuff. Dandy's Wasteland. You guys have no idea how excited I've been to record this video. Okay, here we go. New toon unlocked. We now have Dandy's Wasteland, Brightney. So, as you can see right here, seeing Razzle and Dazzle in such a state fuels her drive for a cure, which okay, go back. What does her Megawit bulb do? After breaking her last bulb, Brightney had to find a quick replacement. It just so happened that she picked up an incredibly bright one. Go figure, her name's Brightney. Thankful, she can control how bright she wants it to be and can use it as fast-acting flashbang. Okay, so Brightney in this Dandy's Wasteland has a flashbang ability? That is one of the coolest immersive ideas that I thought that a lamp could have. I mean, most of us kind of drag and meme on Brightney for the most part. She has such low stealth because she's a literal lamp. So why not play into that a little bit more and make it so you literally flashbang twisted? Brightney is doing what she can in the Wasteland. She's putting her smarts to great use and researching a proper antidote for the twisted of a short-term one. However, she's still overworking herself more than ever, which makes sense. And you can tell she's smart because she's wearing glasses. It just makes sense. We also could have guessed Brightney isn't a great fighter, so she relies on her cleverness more than others. So her wits and her brain, her smarts, is what gets her out of a lot of dicey situations. She's also someone that has below average Ichor tolerance, so it's probably not someone you'll see boosting very often, but imagine a boosted flashbang. Next toon unlocked! We got Shelly, and her having a pickaxe is one of the most fitting things I've ever seen. I also just want to point out, she is the first toon that we've seen who's had the incredible Ichor tolerance. So that basically means whenever she boosts herself, she might be a absolute freak of nature. Her lucky item / ability is just a sturdy pickaxe. It likely belongs to Shelly, but no one has asked her about it directly. She's very prone to throwing it, and it always seems to bounce back to her. Okay, so it's kind of like a boomerang. She has a boomerang pickaxe. Shelly still loves talking about dinosaurs, and each chance she gets makes sense, buys into her character. Shelly has embraced life in the Wasteland. Makes sense. I mean, she's probably not too scared. She has incredible Ichor tolerance. Stepping up as a brave and surprisingly great leader, that is actually surprising. She's a good friend and a great survivor. I feel like when we think of leaders, Shelly isn't one of the ones that come to your mind immediately, but having smarts and reading so much, kind of like Brightney, I guess it makes sense. Shelly doesn't have any special abilities outside of skill, and due to her Ichor tolerance, she can't Ichor boost reliably. Really? Oh, wait. So I guess, this is a really interesting twist. Okay, so because she has such a high Ichor tolerance, she can't be trusted to Ichor boost. Probably because they can't get the amount of Ichor to put in her, like the amount of, I was about to say, the dosage of Ichor in her correctly. That is a relatively crazy thing to say, but I guess it makes sense. But I would like to see what a boosted version of Shelly looks like. And another toon unlocked, it's R&D, and if we do not forget, Brightney, seeing Razzle and Dazzle in such a state, fuels her drive for a cure. By the way, all these 3 toons basically met each other and wound up together. From what we've gathered, everything we've seen, typically there's groups of 3 that find each other. So Razzle and Dazzle is in full control of the body while Dazzle is sleeping. He finds it incredibly uncomfortable. Also, Dazzle looks twisted. All Dazzle ever does is sleep. When he's awake, he's not very aware of his surroundings and doesn't stay up long. Oh my gosh. The whole situation makes it hard for Razzle to stay positive. Even he gets pessimistic at times. I believe it. When your literal brother, your other half, is constantly asleep and basically just doesn't want to be there anymore is really sad. I really hate seeing R&D in this state. Razzle and Dazzle aren't having a good time in the Wasteland. No kidding. Dazzle became infected and nearly fully twisted. They were hit with a short-term antidote, leaving them in a finicky, half-twisted, half-boosted state. Oh my gosh. That is terrifying. He's like the only toon that could really be forced in that kind of a situation. Wouldn't you guys agree? Razzle uses their ribbons as an extra pair of hands, mostly for defense. So like Razzle's basically having to defend a oh no. Oh, imagine if Dazzle turns twisted. Could he not just like start attacking oh no. Man, that's a little morbid. I love this AU. He also has a weak Ichor tolerance, which makes sense, which is why he kind of still looks, twisted. Like the half boosted state is what they were talking about. Here's what the 3 crew look like together. Obviously, Shelly looks sick. Brightney looks somewhat optimistic, while R&D, yeah, they look rough. They look rough, bro. And this squad is called the We're Working On It squad. R&D saying, this is fine. Sleepy Time Junction. Shelly being called the mom is the most not really fitting thing ever, actually. That's kind of weird. I guess she is the mom of the group, which, yeah, doesn't really make sense. I guess it buys into the whole her being a surprisingly good leader thing. And Brightney saying sleep is for the weak. And if we recall, Brightney has been known to be overworking herself. Now, the good stuff. The real lore. We have some comics to look at here. Let's check this out. So, Brightney asks R&D, so how have you been recently? And as you can see, Razzle's awake and Dazzle's, in that boosted crying state. Oh, I hate it. Pretty good. Dazzle woke up recently, so I gotta talk to him for a bit. Filled him in on how things were going and stuff. I think he's getting better. And, oh, he gets cut off by something. I think Dazzle's gonna wake up. No, he doesn't. Razzle, how are you? He looks terrified, bro. Razzle looks terrified. And now he's just expressionless, blank and waiting. I'm living. Right. And that's the end of it. That's all we get. Seeing Razzle in such a state doesn't sit right with me. Don't forget, this is an alternative universe and is completely arbitrary to the real world, but R&D's still my favorite toon. He's still my guy. I don't like seeing him in this state. Moving on in chronological order, we're about to be introduced into our next group. Our next group is going to have Scraps, and Scraps has a strong Ichor tolerance. Also, I noticed that R&D was one of the few toons, as well as I just saw Scraps, doesn't really have a specific ability. Like, R&D actually really in this universe, in this Wasteland, was kind of completely useless. No offense, but yeah, it's the truth. After breaking her tail, brutal. The only ability that Scraps has to pull her into people, or like literally maybe pull herself away from Twisteds, but debatably the best ability to have in the Wasteland. Basically, Spider-Man in the Wasteland. To get away from any Twisteds, any forms, any situation, it's broke. Scraps is now useless. Let's see though. Scraps relies on her teeth, claws, and speed more than ever. As a guilty pleasure, she is enjoying her new talent for inventing. I mean, yeah, she basically had to pick up a new trade. I mean, think about it. She has really nothing else. Scraps manages to invent special contact lenses that make a toon's eyes look like a twisted toon or a blot in order to sneak around with less effort. Okay, that's cool. The goggles are an obvious homage to Goob. They were given by Gigi and painted by Scraps. No figure. Hopeless, that doesn't make sense. Go figure, it was given by Gigi. I'm sure she has several. Scraps is doing her best in the Wasteland. After busting her tail in the early game, there's this whole allusion to the early breakout. I'm pretty curious to see that. Yeah, I hope we have comics on the quote-unquote, early game. She's really had to stretch her creative muscles, and she's found talent in inviting gadgets. Inviting? that does say, I have a feeling that was meant to say inventing. Scraps is always coming up with new ideas on the fly. Of course, they don't all work out, as they won't for most engineers and inventors. So we can guess that Gigi is also going to be in this group. Is that who's next? Indeed, it is. And oh wow, that ability from Gigi looks insane. And so far, this group has had a very, very good Iker tolerance. Scraps was strong, and Gigi's is average. So let's find out what the Flippuccino Burrito, this booster ball, this Dragon Ball Spirit Bomb looking goofy ball looks like. Gigi found a shiny sparkling ball. Hey, keyword found. She found it and thought to herself, how could I not take that? Right? Of course. Now, whenever she sticks certain items into her head, that sounds really weird. They come out supercharged. That is broken. The downside is she doesn't know how to get the orb out and sometimes gets headache, with her quotes being worth it. Yeah, I think those were my exact words. Thanks to Finn, who's actually really dope in this world, by the way, Gigi occasionally likes to make puns to lighten the mood and to cope. Amen. Cool for Finn. Cool Finn lore. Gigi is loving her time in the Wasteland. Probably because it's a lot easier for her to steal. She obviously can't hoard as much. Oh, well, never mind. But there's so much stuff everywhere all the time that she doesn't even care. Okay, well, never mind. I was right. Gigi is a surprisingly decent fighter. That is surprisingly decent because she's a child. Though she refers, well, I think in this situation in the Wasteland, a lot of them are older. I mean, she does look more teenage-esque here. Though she prefers to play support due to her ability to store items. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Imagine if she runs into like Shelly or Boxton and says, hey, put your wrench or put your pickaxe in my head, and then supercharges. Best support character ever. And moving on, I'm gonna take a random guess at who this next. What tune do you want to see be in the Wasteland? Everyone make a mental check of what they want the next Danny's Wasteland tune to be. Have you seen your tune yet? Are you happy with what your tune looks like? Let's think about that while I currently am thinking about who's gonna be. I'm gonna guess Glisten. I don't know why. It just feels right. It's Flutter. Oh, dude, Flutter, like, she is a, Russian soldier. And, okay, this team had really good Iker tolerance. However, Flutter is below average tolerant. Flutter has an ability called Talkbox. Probably necessary in the Wasteland. I'm assuming it's gonna allow her to talk because, as we all know, Flutter canonically cannot speak. With the help of Scraps and Gigi, Flutter was given a form of communication. With the talk box, Flutter is able to speak. I want to see this animated, dude. I want to see this animated, or I want to see a Dandy's RPG. Dandy's World has so many abilities to be so immersive. The fact that it's a Roblox game is crazy to me. Quell, thank you for giving us Danny's. However, it's incredibly limited, her talk boxes. And there are times when the audio cuts out loud. Good for stunning blots, however. Okay, so the loud screech is good for stunning blots, but it's also probably good for alerting them. And in case you don't remember, blots are like the slimes of this universe. They're super weak. Flutter doesn't mind her time in the Wasteland. For her, there isn't any that she finds particularly upsetting. But like many, she hopes to meet up with everyone eventually. Yeah, I would think so. It's rare to see Flutter wear shoes. Okay, very, very interesting thing to add. Okay, Flutter usually focuses on scouting and rescue missions, sticking to the air as much. Makes sense. I mean, wouldn't she not just be one of the tunes to be in the Wasteland, just not being able to get attacked by Twisted, right? Fly over everything. It makes sense. I would want to be Flutter in this. Here's what the three troop look like together. You know, definitely the weirdest three that we've seen mixed together, right? I don't know if there's ever been a run where these three have been there. They're the unsupervised squad. And we have Mr. Steals Your Naughty Word. We have Scratch the I've Got an Idea. And we have Flutter the working brain cell. If that's the reality you're in, where Flutter is working brain cell, yeah, I think having their name being the unsupervised group is incredibly fitting. Hey, Scraps, we're back. You should have come. We found a crazy haul. And then from the Flutter talk box. Wait, ready? Hey. Well, Flutter found it. Finders keepers. Is that Gigi? Oh, Gigi saying that? No, there's no way Gigi would actually say that. I don't buy that, bruh. Gigi saying, but I still found plenty of stuff if you wanna. Gets interrupted. Look, fake lenses. Okay, terrified. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't forget, Scraps came up with that ability where she's able to put in the lenses, like, for stealth and stuff. I think we're finding out the lore of that. You can't hardly even tell what's going on here, but I love this animation. It's just Gigi and Flutter both going, just absolutely freaking out. And that's it. We don't get to see any more of it. We just get to see Flutter and Gigi freaking out. You know, that might be my favorite group of tunes we've seen mixed together. That was awesome. But we have Doodles Part 2 and Dandy's Wasteland. Moving on. I'm back from a 20-minute break, but you wouldn't know that. I may or may not have just blown up my toilet. All right, to fit everything on the screen, don't mind the black bars. Get over it. Okay, we have boosted. Finn trades his speed for power and defense. He won't be as fast as before, but he'll be harder to take down. That's like Finn's whole thing is speed, though. So that is a little weird. It's hard to tell if the water bubbling in his head is because of the anger or Iker. He still makes jokes like, interesting. Okay. So as you can see, there's like bubbling at the top of his head, kind of like a cauldron, like a fish or Iker. Or the fish inside of his head, maybe it's bubbling from Iker. I don't know. Finn's mentality doesn't change too much when boosted, but it does make it harder to tell how close he is to twist. Oh, okay. So like his mindset doesn't change, but since it doesn't change, you can't tell if he's close to turning into a full-on twisting. And in case you don't remember, twisting is fully turning into a twist. Finn's legs get put under a lot of stress during a boost. He usually has to be carried when the fight is over, which makes sense because if you guys don't know what twisted, I should. Here's what our twisted Finley looks like. As you can see, he looks so sweet and innocent, but yeah, he doesn't have legs. So his body gets put under a lot of stress, which, makes sense. And he has to end up being carried off the battlefield. Up next, oh, we have an animation here, which if you guys don't remember, this is Goob's friend Blobby. My legs are killing me. You mean krilling you? Did Goob say that? That's fire. Never changed, Goob. Anybody got my poll? Toodles got it. Thanks, Squid. Or wait, is his name? I forgot the blobs. I thought it was just moving on. We have twisted or boosted Goob. His hands look freaky, dude. Those are some freaky hands. Either Goob has a ton of pent up anger. Oh, 1 million. I think we can all agree. We all kind of think that Goob definitely has some pent up anger. Or Iker just makes him incredibly protective. Regardless, he's more aggressive than you'd expect. I don't think so. I feel like when it comes to his friends, Goob could absolutely become a freak of nature. Goob's arms actually stretch less. They're still elastic, but he can swing his arms. So more power, I guess. He just gets more power. That does actually kind of suck, though. I feel like having super far reach, but just being stronger would be better. Goob's form of fighting switches to close combat and grappling while boosted. See, that I feel like that doesn't really play into Goob's strengths at all. I don't know if you guys agree, but I feel like it'd be better if he could still fight from range. He claws sharpen to help with. I think it just means he like sharpens his claws to fight, like to help. Outside of a fight, he changes back to his usual cherry self like nothing happened. Makes sense. But he gets extra huggy until the boost wears off. Probably because he's just so thankful that it's over. Here's what Goob looks like after boost. So this is just life now. Hugging forever? Yes, 10 minutes. I don't mind forever. Yeah. That's actually, nah, isn't it? This might be my favorite. And Toodles is banned. B-A-N-N-E-D. Twisting from boosting. Why is Toodles not allowed to boost? As you can see, her eyes look absolutely demonic. It's unknown if Toodles' dice are affected by an Iker boost. She's not sensible enough to try it. She's quick on her feet and prone to biting to hold her down as quickly as possible before her head cracks. That might be the reason she's banned from boosting. She has low Iker tolerance, and I guess if she gets any Iker in her, as you guys know, in her twisted version, it's the 8-ball head blown open. I guess she slowly starts to lose her head. Toodles essentially goes feral. Crazy wording when exposed to Iker. Don't let the smile fool you. That reminds me of the main character from Toodles has done this only once. Goob and Finn had to hold her down and keep her close until she calmed down. That is terrifying. It's okay, Toodles. Just calm down and breathe. I wanted to help. I guess her nickname, or Finn calls her as a little nickname. That's so sad. I forget how conscious they are. I don't think they're, I guess Toodles isn't super conscious, but most of the other ones, well, they are like pretty much fully conscious when they are boosted. And our last screen is of a Goob animation coming up and slicing the camera down. But with that being said, we met 3 new groups, found out the other boosted versions of our other group from the last video, and that is where we're gonna end it off once again. I feel like that's a good amount of Dandy's Wasteland per episode. Once again, do not forget the biggest, most delectable shout out and thank you to Fizzy Boy or Transportation OK5843 on Reddit for making this amazing series for us that you guys have enjoyed eating. You guys have enjoyed eating this so much. No, that you guys have enjoyed watching. So either way, I do appreciate you guys watching today. Like for more, unsubscribe so I don't have to bake a cake, and I'll see you guys all again. Bye!